Also, just if you haven't joined the WhatsApp group, it is in the link again, and then we can start continuing with the exam prep. As always, we'll share the presentation and the recording afterwards. So normally just wait an hour or so if there are new people joining the WhatsApp group, and then I will share everything that we've done tonight. Okay, so let's go into the first set of questions. And maybe let me not duplicate that one. Okay, so with this one we start looking again at permutations and combinations. So 6 men and 8 women have volunteered to serve on a committee. So 6 and 8. How many different committees can be formed containing 3 men and 3 women? Okay, so six men, 8 women. How many different committees can be formed containing 3 men and 3 women? Okay, so what would you have done? I would have, where's my calculator? I would probably have said combination, because there's no order that it must be 1 woman and 1 man combined or anything like that. So let me see if my calculator at least can do it tonight. So let's quickly check. So it looks like 6 and 3, so I would have done it this way, and the other one is so just check if you guys would have done it the same way. Then I get, I now multiply before. Okay, I'm just getting that answer. So just check for me, please, if I've done it correctly. But the 6 combination of the twin of the men is 20, and I get the woman, the 8 3 is 56. And if I multiply those two, I get 1120. So just please make sure if that is what you get as well, that I know that I'm using my calculator correctly. We will also check in the next one, because it is probably the same type of question. Okay, so please, for the exam, just make sure that you know how the calculator's combination and permutation works. I've got on my HP the NPR and the NCR. You also, and let me quickly see, I just want to quickly check if I can actually also get on the, so I will share this with you, hopefully by weekend. Let me quickly just check where is the formula page. Oi. Okay, this is, yeah, so let's quickly check if it is here, else I will add it. So there you have the permutation and combination. So I will make notes for you guys on this one, but that one is for your permutation and that one is for your combination. But I will, when I write this up a bit with some information, I will just again show you that, and then I will share it with you. If someone has, they can share it, but I will also do that for you guys. So if nobody did it, don't worry. I will do. If somebody has annotated it, please share it then. But else, don't worry. I will do it in the next day or two. That by the next session that we have on Monday, you have it. So I will definitely make sure that I'll do it on my side for you guys as well. Okay, so let's look at this question 4. A car dealer is offering any 4 of 6 special options at the same price on a specially equipped car. How many different choices of specially equipped cars do you have? Okay, so we know N is 6, R is 4. So for question 4, again, do we use combination or do we use permutation? What would you have said for this one? Because I am sure, doesn't matter which one you use, there is an answer for you. Okay, so combination or permutation. And so I would have said again combination, because a car dealer is offering any 4 of 6 specials, and you have a different choices. So it's not that you need to take special 1 with special 3 plus special whatever. So it's not like the bundle deals of a Checkers that you need to buy the one product plus the other product to get the special. Yeah, it is any combination. So there's no permutation. So again, we're sitting with a combination rule. So 6 combination 4. If I do that on my calculator, I get 15. That is also option 1. Okay, so if I looked add the permutation, then there actually wasn't an answer. So that's also great for this one. But yeah, so again, they didn't say you need to use certain specials with one another. So because of that, it is a combination and not a permutation. Okay, so that's combinations, permutations. Let's look at a favorite that they normally ask. So this one, they okay. So let's quickly. So let's look at first. Where is? Let me just quickly open that that formula as well, so that we just look at what the formula is, because I actually now just use the calculator. So let me quickly write down what the formula is. So okay, so the formula on that page is M. All working with C. So why am I doing P? And so we'll get to all the what everything means. Okay, so that is with the formula that we work with. So, and if we had it in the N and R terms on your calculator, that would have been N, that would have been R. So just we are looking at 6 factorial divided by 6 minus 4 factorial times 4 factorial. So what that means, and it is small numbers, so let's 6 factorial means 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So at the bottom, 6 minus 4 is 2. So 2 factorial is 2 times 1. And then 4 factorial is the rest, the 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Okay, and then we can just eliminate a few things at the top and the bottom. So the 1s cancel out, the 2s cancel out, the 3 cancel out, the 4 cancel out, 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 6 3 times. So at the top, you've got 3 times 5, which is 15. At the bottom, you've got 1, so 15 divided by 1 is 15. Okay, so that is, if we used the formula, we will also get to that 15. Okay, so that is how we would have used the formula. So I will also share this whole formula page with you. So there was, and let's see if I can actually draw on it. Okay, so there was the combination formula that we used. Okay, so I will write up a bit info next to it and then share this with you guys by the end of the week. Okay, so that is how we got to that combination formula. Okay, so let's see the next question that we had. And again, like you would have seen in all our preps nearly, and in your assignment, and for nearly where this was, and your mock exam, when it comes to volume, they love to nearly not ask you what is the volume of something. They want you always nearly to give it in liters. So they nearly want you to say what is the capacity of this thing. So let's first work out the volume. So volume of, what is this, like a trough thingy. So it looks like a triangle with some height. So let's again see if there was, so they don't have, so what I will add for you guys, so don't worry, I'm just making myself a note, volume, area, and perimeter, that we just include that. I don't pick it up in here, so I will just add that for you guys. So volume is the area of this triangle, which is half times base times height.
Well, sir,
Yes.
sorry, I just have a quick question. Just before you
Yeah.
go on,
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, in the exam, are we going to be allowed to use our textbooks, or is it going to be closed book?
Now it's open book. So allowed textbook, allowed study guide, allowed notes, allowed anything like that. Um, the only thing that you would have seen is that what I said, it's a linear exam. So all that means is, like we now did, we can't go back to the previous question. So if you're done with a question, you go to the next one. You're not allowed to go back to the previous question. But study material, textbook, study guides, notes, formula pages, anything like that is definitely allowed. Calculator is allowed. So yeah, so you don't need to worry about that. All of those things are allowed for you to use.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Cool. Okay, so let's see. They give it in liters, so sometimes it's easier if something is in centimeters and then to put it into liters. Um, just make sure when you do this that you see the one is 20 centimeters, the other one is 30 centimeters, and the other one is 60 or 6 meters. Okay, so important when you do this is to, from the start, just decide, are you going to use centimeters or are you going to use meter? Um, so what I would have done is I would have from the start would have used um, meters. So instead, sorry, centimeters, um, because I've already got one in centimeters, two in centimeters. So then it is um, easier to just change the 6 meters into centimeters. So if you've got the 6 meter to change it into centimeters, that will be 600 centimeters. So then it is a bit easier to work with the calculation than to work with meters and centimeter, because then I will be confused if I need to use both. So let's work out the triangle component first. Is for half times base times the short height, or that was the base and that was the height, sorry. Doesn't matter when we multiply. And then we multiply with the height of the trough, which is 600 centimeters. Okay, so basically 20 times 50 times 600 times a half. So let me just, a half times 20 times 50 times 600 gives us 1,180,000 centimeters to the power of 3. So cubic centimeter. Let me just get this back to original. And then when we want to move from centimeter cubic to liters, we need to divide by 1,000. So 180,000 divided by 1,000 will be 180 liters. Okay, which is option 2. Okay, so in this one, just important that we know that we need to change the centimeters cube into liters. Okay. Are you guys happy with that one? Okay, so let's go to the next one. So this was interesting because suppose a company has 10 employees, one earning 160,000, one earning 120,000, two earning 60,000, one earning 40,000, and five earning 32,000. Okay, so, and I'm just going to say 5 of them. So one of the questions was, what is the mean salary for the company? And so the mean, we need to add all of them together, divide by 10. So let me also just check on that list if, okay, so again, there's not, let me just quickly, okay, yeah, it is. So at least we've got the mean for you. So it's the sum of all the numbers divided by n. So it's the sum of all of them divided by n. So let's get it's, let me do that one first. It's 32,000 times 5 plus 40,000 plus 60,000 plus 60,000 plus 120,000 plus 160,000. So I got the total of that XI I got as 600,000. And then if you need to divide by n, I told us there's 10. The 600,000 divided by 10 gives us that the mean or the average income of the company is 60,000, which is option 3. Okay, so we add all of them together, which is 600,000. We divide by 10 because that is how the formula is. Sometimes they write the formula as that, but it is exactly the same to say sum of all the numbers divided by how many there are. So that first one was the 600,000 divided by 10 to get you 60,000. To get the median, we basically need to actually arrange that from smallest to highest. So it should have been a bit different. So let me, and I'm just now going to write as it was without the thousands, but we can just see where it will fit in. So that was with 5 32s, then there was a 40, then there was 2 60s, a 120, and a 160. Okay, so the mean is basically the one in the middle. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so how we would work out the median is the 2's that is sitting in the middle over 32,000 plus 40,000 divided by 2, and that will give us 36,000. Will give you 72,000 divided by 2 will give you this, the 36,000, which is option 2. Okay, so what I would do now for you guys in the exam, as you are practice or not practicing, as you are writing in the exam, write some of these things down, because they will beforehand tell you if a question is linked to other questions. So yeah, it didn't matter if you got question 6 wrong, you can still be able to answer 7 without impacting, but you need that information. So they will not take away, or they will, for question 8 and 9 that now says mode and standard deviation, they will show you that data again, but they will not tell you now, okay, remember the mean was 60 and the median was 36. So if you need that in the next two questions, they're not going to tell you that. And that's what is meant also by linear. How your question paper is going to be linear is that you can't see this again. So I would somehow just write down as you're working this out that your mean was 60, your median was 36, so that you might use it for the next set of questions. Okay, what is the mode of the salaries? The mode is the one that happens the most. They nearly told us here, some of it is 1, some of it is 2. There's only one that is 5, and that is 32,000. So the mode is 32,000 because that is the one that happened the most. And now we get to the one that we need to work out standard deviation. Okay, so again, we have from the formula, we've got here the standard deviation. But now if you look at this, this is not too easy because you need to do it for that 10. So each time you need to say the x minus the mean square root. So what I would do again for the standard deviation is, I know your calculators can do it. I just want quickly to show you again in Excel, and I will share this with you guys as well. The standard deviation formula in Excel, so that if you want to use it, you can. So let's just get X as the numbers. So it was 32,000. There was 5 of them. Then there was 40,000. There was 2 60,000s. 120 and 160. And so that was, so let's just make it a bit bigger. So if again we wanted to work out the mean, we could have looked at the Excel formula. Did I miss something? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you are allowed to use Excel. So that is not a problem. You are allowed to use Excel in the exam. It's not, so the guys that are writing with on a cell phone, it's going to be very difficult. But if you're using a laptop, you are allowed to use Excel. Okay, so there's no problem with that. So just remember what the what is it, the webcam does is it's only looking for you, that it's you that's writing. So it's exactly like your mock exam was, that it's you that's writing and that you're not communicating with somebody on a cell phone via WhatsApp or Telegram or one of those things. Okay, so you are allowed to use Excel. Again, not everybody has access to it, but you're also allowed to use those functions on your scientific calculator or financial calculator. And most of those calculators that as a data function can do this for you. So please just look at that on your on your cell phone, not on your cell phone, on your calculator as well. So what is nice is that Excel can do mean, mode, median for you. So if you I'm just now done something wrong, so I will just quickly correct that. So that's right. The mode is just to that one, and the median is also just to 11. Okay, so we could quickly go back and check. Mean was 60. Mean was 60. Median was 36. Mode was 32. And then I'm going to add variance for you guys so that if they ask variance, then you have it. And it's a variance of a sample because we're working with a sample. Massive variance because if you look at those numbers, it's going to be like that. Let me just quickly, otherwise I just make it a bit bigger. Just want to make sure that we get to a number. And when your standard deviation, we can just, there is a standard deviation for sample as well. So that's the one that we can use, but we can also check that if we take the square root of a variance, it should also be exactly the same. So the standard deviation is 44,621. So let's just get 44,621.87. Okay. So, and I will share with you the Excel spreadsheet that you guys can look at that and work with it. Okay, so don't worry, I will put it on the WhatsApp group tonight, that you have access to it. Yes, question.
Hi, Jean. So can I just ask, with standard deviation, is it with Excel the only way that we can calculate it, or is there any other manual way than
See
Excel?
the manual way, so let's quickly show that. So let's look at that formula. So the manual way is just a bit long, but you can do it manually. So there's no issue in doing it manually. So let me quickly show that to you. Let me just, and what they might do, so also just that we get some of the wording right. So this is what the formula is. So what you would have needed to do is to say, okay, my X number, so let's take that first one, and we have seen that the mean was 60. So that first number, the 32,000 minus 60, the square root of that. Okay, and we know there was 5 of them, so this one might be a bit easier. Then there was 140, 260s. So there was 140 Let me just, there was 260s. There was 120 and the 160. And so there was a 40,000 that we needed to say minus 60. That was the 6 number. Okay, so 60 minus 60 is going to be 0 in any case, but let's just write that out. There was 2 of them, so that will in any case stay 0. Then it was 120,000 minus 60 square plus 160. Okay, so that you needed to work out. So that is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if you have that sum, you needed to say n minus 1. So divide by n minus 1. But then still, that is the value for s square, which is the variance. So then we still, that answer, we will need to take the square root. Okay, so it is a long process. So something that they might tell you in the exam is they might tell you something like, well, they can give you that so that you know, okay, they've given me that. If I just divide that by 9, I can get the answer. Or they might say the sum of squares of x is a number. Okay, so the sum of squares is this thing that is here at the top. So again, I don't think in the exam they are going to give you so many numbers nearly. So if I do something like this, and you need to work out the standard deviation, it will probably be 4 or 5 numbers. So remember, they've changed it a bit from when it was paper-based to online. You get less time nearly for the same number of questions. So they also are shortening some of the questions that it is more manageable. But this would have been nearly the process, how to work it out, if you didn't have access to Excel or a calculator. Okay. So now let's look a bit at a few different things. So simplify to 2 decimal places. So for this, I would use calculator, but let's quickly just, again, that should have been all commas. So first, 8 to the power of 2 over 3. So hopefully you have a calculator that can do that. So 8 to the power of 2 over 3. I'm gonna use Excel because my calculator is not great at all for these types of questions. So let me just show you in Excel how to to do it if you wanted. But on your calculator, you can just type 8 to the power of 2 divided by 3. So that would have given you 4. 8 to the power of 2 over 3. So if you wanted to nearly wanted to work that out a different way, 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. So that 8 would have been 2 to the power of 3. Okay, so 2 to the power of 3 to the power of 2 over 3. 3 times 2 is 6. So 2 to the power of 6 over 3. That is 2 to the power of 2. 2 to the power of 2 is 4. So just again, if you don't have calculator or Excel that can do it for you, this would have been another way to work it out. 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. So if you wanted to get the lowest common multiple for 8, it would have been 2 to the power of 3. And if we say then that to the power of 2 over 3, it's the 2 times the 3, which will give us 6. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So 2 to the power of 2 is 4. Okay, then the other one is the log. I think I have seen. Okay, so I'm just making myself a note here to include the log for you guys. So I will add that for you. I don't see it elsewhere. So if you get something like this, log to 38, that is actually log 32 over log 2. Okay, so that you can again on a calculator say 32 log or 32 ln divided by 2 ln will give you the answer, which is 5. But again, if you wanted to nearly look at this and work it out a bit differently, we could have said, okay, but let's look at that 32. And let's see again if we can get some common denominator in this. So 2 goes into 32 in 16, 2 goes into 16, 8. And now you can see we're back to nearly that. 2 goes into 8, 4. 2 goes into 4 twice. 2 goes into 2 one time. So 32 is actually 2 to the power of 5 is 32. So we could have rewritten log 32 as log 2 to the power of 5 over log 2. And then if we simplify that via the log rules, that will be the 5 will go in front. So we sit with log 2 or 5 log 2 divided by log 2. And that would have cancelled out, that we do sit with 5 alone. So if, again, you did not have a calculator, you would have been able to work out the other two separately. So again, if you look, I will add this log rule because I see there is one, but it's not really totally. So I will just add the log rules for you in this space so that you have that as well. So when you need to work with it, at least you have it. Okay, so, but most of your calculators hopefully will be able to also do 8 to the power of 2 over 3 and then log 32 with a base of 2. Okay, also how I will do it, if your calculators can do it separately. Don't try to do it all in one sum nearly, because it will just the calculator normally not able to do all of that in one go. Okay, so that is simplification. Then we had this in a previous paper as well. So the sum format. So let's look at what they give us. So we need to work out what this is. So they tell us that we start with 3. So it is 3 to the power of 2. Then the next one is 4 to the power of 2. So we need to add all of that together. And we then end off with 5 to the power of 2. Okay, so we begin at 3, we end at 5, and each one of them we need to take it to the power of 2. So 3 to the power of 2 is 9. 4 to the power of 2 is 16. 5 to the power of 2 is 25. And if we add all of that together, 9 plus 16 is 25. 25 plus 25 is 50. And that is option 2. So again, there is in the exam, like in your assignments, there is multiple options normally, or multiple questions of ways that they can ask it. So one could have been only when you look at 3, then it would have been 9. Only if you looked at 3 and 4, or only 4, it's 16. That one could have been only 5, or it could have been 3, 2, 4. Could have given you a 25. So again, some different options or methods that could have gotten you some of the different answers.
Sorry, Shane,
Yes,
can I ask? So is this the stigma notation method or the
yes.
sum? All right. So can I just, because yeah, stigma notation, I've been having a problem with actually understanding the concept. So with the 3 to the power, 3 and
Yes.
4 to the power, how did we perhaps get to that? Are
Okay,
we using the I or
so they tell us we need to, that I needs to be to the power of 2. Okay, so they tell us I to the power of 2. So what
mm,
we need to do, and let me just quickly take this away. So what they ask you to do is to do the sum from I equal to 3 to I equal to 5. They don't add for I equal to 5, but it means from 3 up until 5. And what you need to do it for is for this formula. Okay, so you need to basically do it for this formula. So that's why it will be 3 to the power of 2, because it's I to the power of 2. The next one. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So just to see it clearly and more understandably, so in the sum of sigma notation, in most cases, the value of I needs to be powered to 2.
Okay, so let me quickly, now that you mention that, so let me give you another example.
Okay.
So, okay, so let's say you needed to that I equal to 3, and again, let's say to 5. Okay, so now what you would have done is I would have been 3, so that would have been for 3, but then
Okay.
for 4 you need to say 4 plus 4, and then for 5 you would have needed to say 5 plus 4. Okay, so it is for whatever this term is that you are summing.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, does that make a bit more sense? So
Yeah, yeah.
whatever you need to sum, so whatever this formula or equation or is that you need to sum, you need to nearly do it for the I that is 3, then
Yeah.
for the one that is 4, up
And
until
then,
what that goes there, so up until till 5.
all right. No, thank you so much, Gina. I clearly understand it now.
Okay, awesome. There was another hand.
Yes, sir. Hi, sir.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask, like, for the 4, I didn't understand how to get the 4. So if, for example, let's change the 5 into 7. So we need to start like from 3 to 7 by adding like 3 to the power of 2, 4 to the
So
power of
if
5.
that was 7, you would have
Mm.
gone on to say 6 to the power of 2 plus 7 to the power of 2, yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So that is nearly, so you go on till whatever that number is, and there you end. Okay, so
Okay.
also if it was from 1 to 7, we would have had added 1 to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 2, plus then 3, 4, 5, 6, all of them. Okay, so just depending on from where to where we need to be. Okay,
Okay, sir. I understand.
cool. Thanks, guys. Let's go on to the next one. So I will copy this over when we go to question 16. So question is determine the vertex, and I also was like vertex. I'm English, not my first language. So what is vertex? But vertex is basically turning point. So they could have just made it simpler for us to say, what is the turning point? Okay, so the turning point of A and the turning point of B. So that is basically what they want. Turning point X and Y. So let's So what was interesting for me here is that they've given the graphs, and for this you needed to use the graph to read it off. So let me see if I can just make it a bit bigger. Okay, because you and when you get something like this in the exam, it will be much clearer than these old exam papers. So let's look at first, we need to look at the y, or it's the easier one for me to first look at. So that's about 16. So if I look at my first point A, there's a 16. All the others are not 16. So I would have just said, okay, those are all wrong, because I needed to get that point, even though I haven't gotten to it yet. So let me quickly see the other one is, let's look at that point. So again, if we come down, looks like going to be at 3. So there is 3. So again, for you guys, this will be much clearer. It will not be as fuzzy as this image is. I also just want to see if I can quickly add something for you guys, so that when you go through this again, you can see what they sometimes mean with the other words as well. Okay, so we've got for this one 3 and 16. So if I look at this vertex, it's also again close to 3. If I look at where that is going to be, it seems like 1. Okay, so that will definitely then be my option, would be option 1. Okay, if I need it, and that might be the other question, but let's quickly see y-intercept. So if I needed the y-intercept on this one, it would have been 8, because it goes there through the y-intercept. On this one, it would have been 10. Sorry, why do I want to write 8 again? Would have been 10. Okay, so that would have been your y-intercept. This one, we don't have x's. This one, if we wanted to look at your x-intercepts, that is most likely 7, and that is most likely -1. Okay, so that gives us a bit of more information around those graphs. So let's just look at what was, okay, determine the x-intercepts. So we have done it. There is none, so B is none. So that's correct. Again, we will sit with option 4, but let's quickly just check So it was -1 and 7 and none. So -1 and 7 and none. Okay, so that is just some of the questions around the parabola, or when you have a figure like this that is with the vertex, the intercept, the x intercept, so that you can see all the things that they can ask about that. Okay, so let's go to the next question, and this is a set of inequalities, and also again, so I'm going to make it bigger when they do ask a second question around it. So let's just make this that we can read it better. So let's crop it a bit. Okay, so now it is at least a bit better to read. Sorry. Sorry about that. Just wanted to get some water. Okay. Question 17. System of inequalities. So, and again, sometimes not great all the reading. SDF appliances as a simply plant in Mlazi and Ilovo, where they produce a variety of kitchen appliances, including a 12 coffee maker. So hopefully somewhere they will say what that is, and cappuccino machine. At the Mlazi plant, 160 of the 12 cup models and 200 of the cappuccino machines can be assembled every hour. So let X be the number of assembly hours. Okay, so they're not using the coffee and the cappuccino as it. They're using the hours, so 160 12 cup, 200 at the Ilova plant. It's just underlined. 800 of a 12 cup, 200 of a cappuccino machines can be assembled every hour. Classes expect orders for at least 64,000 and at least 400. So let's see, at Umlazi plant, it's X, and at the Ilova plant, it is Y. So 12 cup of models, at least 64,000. At least 64,000 is 64,000 or more. And that is all the 12 cups. So let's wait, sorry. Yeah, 12 cup. So 12 cup is 160, 12 cup at Umlazi. Umlazi is X. There is 812 cup at Ilovo. Ilovo is Y, so that is 800 at Ilovo. So that will be nearly our first one, is to get nearly the the 12 copper, so 160 over 12 cups. The other one is 800 over 12 cups, and at least over 12 cups. So 160 x, because that is Umlazi, y is Ilovo, plus 800y bigger or equal to 64. Okay, so that one is 160x plus 800 bigger or equal to 40,000. Okay, that one is wrong. Okay, so here we have 160 plus 800, so that is right. This one is the other way around, so let's just make 100% sure we read right. At Umlazi plant 160. Okay, so here it was swapped around. So that is why that is also wrong. So let's then look at the next component. So 200. So let's look at all the cappuccinos. 200 at the one, 200 at the other one. So you've got 200 and 200, and then at least 400,000 or 40,000. So for the second one, it will be 200x plus 200y is at least 40,000. Okay, so 200x, 200y, at least 40. So option 2 is the right one. Okay, so again, sometimes this is, when it is online, very difficult to always put the things together. Where when you look at it like this way and you can highlight it, then it's sometimes easier to put what you need to put together. So when you have a question like this, also nearly try to write the things that need to be together that you can really get a feel for it. Okay, let's just look at what the follow-up question for this was. Let's look at questions. One of the extreme points of a solution space of a system of inequalities in question 17 is. Sure. So we know that option 2 was the one that we work with. Okay, so is there easy way to work this out, or is it that you basically put a number in one of the extreme points of the solution space of a system of inequalities? And this is very weird question. Let's quickly so that is your x and and why. So if to see if they want me to just quickly divide. Okay, so this is a weird question, so I don't really know what they want. So if I set 160 times 50, I get 8,000. If I say 800 times 150, I get 120. So I will not get that formula. So I'm just testing it that way to see if I say 150 times 160, I get 24,000. So let's quickly do it this way. This is a really weird question. So I would test it to say, okay, what is 50 times 160 plus 150 times 800? And if I don't get 64,000 for that, that is not one of the solutions. So that is 8,000 plus 120,000. So that is 128,000. So it can't be that one. Then I try 150. 150 times 160 is 24,000. 50 times 800 is 40,000, which is 64. But will that 100 times that will be 160. Yeah, I don't. This is really a weird question, because if I now put 150 in there, 150 times 200 is 50,000, and 200 times 50 is, so that will also work. So that is what I would have done. I would just have put in the numbers and see if it add up, because now if I put in that 200 times 150 plus 200 times 50, I will also get the 40,000. So that then tells me that those two numbers is in the possible solution space, and it seems like the extreme numbers. The other three numbers is not. So very, very weird question this is, and it would have been probably easier if something of this was, and it might have been that they have drawn it in a diagram and one could have checked on the diagram what it is. So, but a very weird question, that the only way I can see how to work it out is to put the numbers into this equation and see if you find the solution. Remember, option 3 and 4 wasn't correct, so we can't use option 3 and 4. So just remember, we were only looking at the second one. So option 3 and 4 is not available for you to look at. So we only look at that option, and then I would have substituted in. The other way would have been if you've drawn it, but that will take, again, more time probably than to put in the numbers and just check if it works out or not. Okay, so that is your linear programming. I will still, we are going to have a session on Monday and on Tuesday. So we are going to have sessions on Monday and Tuesday. So I will still check for others like this as well, that we just covered on Monday or Tuesday. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Let me just duplicate as well, that we can just look at each one on its own. Okay, so 8,000 Rand is invested at, sure, is that 5 or 6%? Let's say that is 8,000 Rand. I'm going to go now for 6%, but let's see if it works out for 9 months. So that is 9 over 12. Find the future value. Okay, so future value for simple interest is the present value, 8,000 times 1 plus your interest rate times the 9 over 12, which is your period. Okay, so that is your formula. You cannot use the functions on your calculator, because that built-in functions only look at a compound interest. Okay, so let's, if I work that out, it's 8,001 plus 0.06 times 9 divided by 12 is 0,045. So 8,000 times 1,045 will give us an answer of 8360. Okay, so which gives us option 2. Okay, so that is 6%. Let me just want to make sure if I take the 5% that we're not getting an answer. So then at least, oh, I know it isn't 5%. Okay, so 8,000 Rand invested at simple interest at 6% over a 9-month period. So at the end of that 9-month period, you would have gotten back 8,360. Okay, if I ask you what is the interest earned, then it would have been that 8,360 minus the original 8,000. So if I just ask you what the interest was, it would have been 360. So just again, something to add if I want something like the interest and not the future value, there is also then a way to work that out. Okay, so let's look at the next question, which is then probably going to be a compound interest question. So let's just quickly see. Yes. Okay. So if 5,000 is invested at 6% compounded daily for 5 years, find the future value of the investment. Give your answer to the nearest cent. Make the assumption that there is no leap year in this period. Okay, so let's just then assume that is where all the dots are. Okay, so let's see again. We need to get to the future value. So the future value is the present value, 5,000. 1 plus interest. So the interest is 0.06. They tell us daily, divided by 365 to get a daily, but then we will multiply it by 365 times 5 years. Okay, so you can also use financial calculator to work that out, but we can also just by the formula work it out as well. So let's just sure 1,825 days. I wonder if this okay, so if I look at this formula, what is it? 1,002 to the power of 1825. So I get it as 5,000 times what is in the bracket is 1,3498. Six seven four 9.13. Yo. Okay. Again, first time I see something that is so close. Not really fair to give you those two options. Let's quickly check financial calculator. You would have had a present value of minus 5,000. You would have had the interest rate of the 6%, you would have had important the periods per year would have been 365. It is for 5 years. So the total period would have then be 1825. Then if I set future value, I am supposed to get the same answer. So let's just check if that is right. So 5,000 present value, 6% interest, 365 times per year for 5 years. So then my future value that I get is also 7649.13 with a calculator. So with a financial calculator, if I use the built-in formula, present value minus 5,000, interest rate 6%, payments per year or periods per year is for 365 because it's 365 days. For 5 years, my future value is also 6749.13. So it doesn't matter if you use the formula or the calculator, you get to the same answer. Just very important nearly is in the formula, just remember they say daily, so that we use the 365, and also that you use the 365 when you divide the interest with it. Okay, so that is just very important for this one, is remember they said it is daily. Okay, so that's the questions for tonight. So let me stop and then I can share the recording a bit earlier with you guys.